Hello, 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 hello. Today our topic is ownership. Yeah, you wonder ownership. I thought this was what Ivy's law of nature. Yes, this is Ivy's law of nature, where we talk about everything legal, everything nature, and everything relationships, love. Okay. And today's topic is ownership. Yeah, you might wonder ownership. In law, is pretty simple to understand. That is, it's very clear cut in the sense that ownership is not contested. Why? Because when you own something, you possess it. When you own something, you dominate it. When you own something, you can alienate it. That is, you can transfer it to somebody else. When you own something, you use it whatever way you want. So it's very clear. Beyond it being something that you own and possess, you can do whatever, you can destroy it, you can do whatever you want with what you own. Okay. And there's so many ways people come into becoming owners of certain things. Okay. They become owners of certain things when they have rights to share it with other people, to lease it. And then you have the residual ownership, of that stuff, and you also are able to do whatever you want to do with it. Sometimes you own things that are not physical, like it's not land, it's not a car, it's incorporeal. You say like trademark, for instance. You see what's going on now with VDM and VLOT. Please, don't come for me. I'm just teaching, and I'm sharing my own opinion. So but things like that, patent, are things that you want to take full control of in terms of ownership. Your copyrights, your shares at the bank, those are things that you can't see with your physical eyes, okay? Because they're not physical, right? And yeah, you really want to understand ownership by dominating what you own. That is law, and it's pretty simple and straightforward. Well, sometimes people can contest your ownership when you don't dominate. And I'll give you an example. When you lease a property and you don't have the right documentation and details and a contract to back it up, somebody can wake up one morning and be like, no, 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 no. This is my property. I own this, not you. And you start to wonder, how did this happen? You see? So in law, it's pretty clear when you can prove certain things, when you have exercised every kind of right there is to exercise as far as that thing, be it a property, a car, a shoe, whatever, is concerned. And people come to ownership in law when they get gifts. My grandma gifted me this house, or my parents gifted me this car, and there's a transfer of interest, there's a transfer of ownership, there's a transfer of possession. Okay, that then becomes pure ownership. Now, to the most interesting part of this conversation, when it comes to nature, would you say you really own anything natural? Yes, you can, but you don't own nature, right? Because we are not God. God owns everything natural. However, He created this for our use. He created us, or created the vegetation, the trees, for our feeding, for our healing. In fact, in Genesis 1:28, if I'm not mistaken, He gave us the express right to multiply, replenish, dominate the earth. But again, most of us, I'm looking at you, most of you don't do any of this. You don't replenish, you don't plant anything, you don't dominate, you don't use natural products, you don't use herbs, you don't use plants, you don't even eat. Everything is synthetic, starchy, and all of that. Again, I understand that some of these foods grow from the ground, but the vegetation is where we are really on. Okay. So sometimes I look at people, sometimes they buy really good products, like a good hair product that is herbal, organic, and they just leave it on their shelf because they're like, there's this one new thing that came out again in town. I think I want to try this. And in that case, you just have possession, you don't own it. You can also have a very nice herbal tea, like our detox tea here, and it's just there in your kitchen or in your cabinet, and you haven't opened one sachet to take one tea bag, and you claim that you own it. Well, you just have possession of it. Just like in law, you can possess something like a tenant, you can possess a house, but you don't own it, you see. However, nature by nature, you can own natural resources that are underneath your possession, e.g., your house, or yeah, mostly your land. You can one day find gold or diamond underneath your ground, or oil, and then you become a billionaire one day, instantly. So that's for nature. When it comes to relationships, it's kind of different because unfortunately, in a relationship or in a love situation, you cannot own anybody. I repeat, you cannot own anybody, and this is why you can pay a bride price, excuse me, for a spouse, your wife, but you don't own her, because when you then exercise that kind of ownership in relationships, it becomes a problem, it becomes chaotic, it becomes forced, it becomes violent, it becomes everything that you really don't want it to be, you see. So when you love someone, you cannot say I own this person. You can only say, oh, this person is my person. That is where loyalty plays a huge role, or exclusivity plays a huge role. That person is your person, or this is my girl, this is my guy. But you can't say, oh, I own that woman, or that man is. People say it a lot. That man is my own, is my man, is my own. You don't. No, 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 girl. He's not yours. He's not your property. He's just your person. He is someone who you are in a relationship with, and you have to respect that. But some people want to argue with their ancestors and say, oh yeah, but the Igbo tribe, the eastern part of Nigeria, pay bride price and they pay to marry a woman. Yes, it's kind of like, for me, my own opinion, is a way to respect the girl's family, to say, look, I see something, I cherish her, and I really want to show appreciation, to say, look, I understand the years and hard work as a parent you put in to getting her to be a beautiful, beautiful woman, a hardworking woman that she has turned out to be. And this is my way of saying thank you. However, that bride price is not to be a medium to say, oh, I now own the woman. No, no, no. Because again, when you treat her anyhow, I mean, she'll go back to her parents' house, and they return your money to you. So again, I would rather say, don't try this. Don't try the ownership mentality. In any relationship that you are in, it would not end well. It never goes well. It becomes really toxic, and but yeah, you know how it end. But loyalty, friendship, makes sense. Okay, exclusivity makes sense. Anyways, that's it for us here. Remember to hit the subscribe button if you haven't by this time, and if you have watched this far, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, when you understand the laws that govern life, you stop surviving and start living in alignment. This is your girl Ivy of Ivy's Love Nature. Until next time, ciao.